Hey guys, so today we're talking about books. I wanted to do a video where I talk about books that I've read because, yeah, I always like watching those videos myself. This is gonna be kind of all over the place because I don't really have a good system yet for, or I just need to better like organize what I've read and when I've read it. So I kind of think that I did it the right order, but I don't really know. It's gonna be fiction and nonfiction books. So let's just get started. So the first book that I've read, actually listened to, is an audiobook on Spotify. It comes in a normal book version as well. But it's called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. So my boyfriend actually, he watched a lot of videos from Alex Hormozi on YouTube. And he told me to read that book. So when I saw it was on Spotify, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just listen to this. And I'm not really an audiobook type of person. Like usually I get really I've listened to audiobooks before, and in my experience it was always like this robot type voice just trying to read this book. And I was like, I just get uncomfortable by it. I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea. But with, nonfiction, I feel like that's easier, especially if the author reads it themselves. So, $100 Million Offers is kind of what the title says. He talks about how to make a Grand Slam offer, which, basically could lead you to that $100 million offer. So he talks about how to create such a good offer that people can't say no. So he talks about what even an offer is in its most basic form. He talks about the value proposition, all of that good stuff. I think there was a lot of value in that book. I already had some knowledge, but I still learned a lot from this book. So I highly recommend it if you're maybe into making a small business of your own or anything like that. Then I started listening to his second book in the kind of series, I guess you would call it, which is $100 Million Leads. So in that book, he talks all about how to get leads, how to get like the most valuable leads. And I'm actually still, would you call it reading that or listening to it? I said listening. I'm still listening to that, almost finished, but still the same thing. Really good book. Then we get to the first fiction book of the year, which is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. So I like this book, but I don't know, I didn't really connect to it or something. Because I like the characters, and especially, I don't even know what his name is anymore. Let me see. Jacob? Yeah. I could especially relate to Jacob. And I liked the story and the characters, but there was just, I don't know, something about the plot that was missing. I don't know. Maybe I was just I read too many romance books before or something, where I just felt like I needed a little more tension or something happening. I don't know. So that's the first fiction book that I read. Then I was at the train station and I just went into the little bookstore there and I saw this book, When Women Were Dragons by Callie Barnhill. And I picked it up because I was like, after reading Yours Truly, I was like, okay, I need something else, maybe. So I saw this book and I was like, that looks interesting. And I was intrigued by the title and reading the back. Like, okay. Like, I haven't really been into fantasy like before this, because I read the Atlas 6 and didn't really like that. Yeah, I saw this book. I was like, I'm just try it again. I didn't like it. Also, I'm really picky with books. That might also be why, but yeah, I couldn't get through it. I got like this far in and I was really trying to like it and trying to just push on because maybe it would get better. But I got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to stop because I feel like it's just a waste of my time at this point. And I'm sure, like, it doesn't mean it's not a good book. It's just, yeah, it felt really hard to just get through, at least in the beginning when I didn't get much further. So let me know if it gets any better, if anyone has read it. So that's the first 2 fiction books. Then, let me see where I can put these books. Okay. So then I read this book, Her Flowers by Jordan Green, which is my boyfriend's poetry book. Well, one of the 3 he's written so far. And obviously I like this. I love this book. I have 2 other poetry books, but I started them but I don't really know how to read poetry books. I always wonder, like, do you just read them from beginning to end, like a normal book? Do you, like, skim through them, but then you don't really know which ones you've read? So, yeah, that's my experience with poetry books. But obviously, I really like this one. Not just because he's my boyfriend, but he's actually a really good author. So, highly recommend. This is about, one of the topics is a long distance relationship, because we were long distance, and he's managed to tie that in well with other themes. Then another nonfiction is The Power of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So yeah, this is like a spiritual book. I actually started this in 2022, but I don't know why I didn't just finish it then. I just get distracted, like, all the time too. But I highly recommend this book for anyone who is spiritual or is looking to get more into that, or turn into that perspective. But yeah, I made a lot of like notes like that. So yeah, I finished this book this year because I picked it up again. And again, really good book. It's really allowed me to see what it takes to be in the present moment and really be mindful of what you're doing and what you're thinking. And I actually might reread it again because I still struggle with it, and it's not just gonna be like, oh, just switch like that and you're just constantly present. And then comes, I think, my favorite book that I've read so far this year is Done and Dusted by Leela Sage. I hope I'm saying that right. So this is a country romance novel. So I don't know what it is about this book. It's not like a spectacular, like, groundbreaking story or something, but the feeling, especially the feeling that it gave me, was what I really like valued about this book. It kind of made me feel like I was really there. I feel like the author really did a good job with that. Is really capturing this theme. And it made me feel like, I don't know, like it's summertime and you're you're driving with the windows down and all this good music, like your favorite music, and the sun is just shining on your face and the wind is blowing through your hair and you're just there singing your favorite music with your favorite people on a road trip. I don't know. That feeling is what I got. Just this warmth. And yeah, really like this book. So I'm really bad with like giving descriptions of what books are about because most of the time I honestly forget. Like, I know what this was about and I really like this and I know that I really like this, but it's like, what really happened? Like, what is the story? I don't know. I forget it so fast. But yeah, it's like a sweet slow burn, as it says. Yeah, that's a really good description, actually. Someone said, a sweet slow burn, sunshine in written form. That's all I can say, honestly. Next book is Powerless by Elsie Silver. And I was quite excited to read this book. It's the third book in the Chestnut Springs series. And I think, yeah, I really liked the first one. And then I liked the second one as well, but it's a single dad trope, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But I still really liked it. I liked the characters. And I actually liked the single dad trope in that book. So I was really excited about this book as well, which is about Jasper. This is, by the way, if you don't know, also a like cowboy romance. So Jasper is like the two first books were two brothers. And Jasper is their best friend, or another brother's best friend, also their friend. And also like their brother because the family kind of adopted him since he was living in his car because of the family situation. And it's about this girl. I don't even remember. See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't remember her name. What was her name? Sloane. Her name was Sloane. So she is a ballerina dancer, and she was kind of forced by her dad to marry this bad person because it would be economically good for her dad. She's kind of like a business deal. Anyway, the wedding day falls apart. She realizes she doesn't want to marry him. I won't say why. And she kind of runs away with Jasper. Like, kind of becomes part of his life. And yeah, the story goes from there. I like this, but it wasn't my favorite. I feel like, I don't know. Like, I definitely liked this one a lot more than this one. I feel like I like the Chestnut Springs series so far, but it wasn't what I like hoped for. It wasn't worth like all the hype that I built for myself, I suppose. Because something about it doesn't connect me to the stories as much as this book does. Or did. So that's just my take. And then, oh yeah. Oh wait, I'm totally forgetting some books that I read on my phone. So I actually read Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Yeah, as an ebook. I don't have it in physical version. But that's a really good book as well about, it's a nonfiction about his life and how he's able to get everything, like squeeze all of his potential out of him by using his strategies. And he talks about the 40% rule. So basically, when you think you have nothing left to give, you're only at 40%. And how you can really push yourself to get the best out of yourself. And I really thought it was just one of those really inspiring books. How he was in the Marines, or he was a Navy SEAL, and as he called it, he went from being a loser who hadn't accomplished anything and lost a lot of weight to eventually make the Navy SEALs and get through all that hard training. And just by trying, failing, trying even harder, and succeeding. And then you fail again, and you succeed. You fail again, you succeed. So you just always have to keep going and not be afraid to be in discomfort, to grow. So let me see which book I read next. Oh yeah, it's a book that I read as an ebook as well. It's called It's on Me by Sarah Kubrick, if I'm saying that right. Probably not. So that's a book about not just finding yourself, but creating yourself and really discovering who you want to be. Yeah, that was a topic I really wanted to get into because I've been struggling with that myself. Like, who do I really want to be? Who am I right now? And how can I get to the person that, like, I see myself becoming? And who do I even see myself becoming? So, yeah, that book was had a lot of eye-openers for me and has a lot of questions that I'm actually still going through right now because I'm just doing a few a day. Not even a day, a week, I guess. She really helps you like think about your childhood as well and where maybe your beliefs and the choices you've made, like where they come from and how you can make choices that better align with yourself and things like that. So I recommend as well. So the next book is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. So I like this book. It wasn't groundbreaking, but I liked it. I liked that there was a whole, like, the guy is a billionaire, but not like the snobby billionaire. And she is a designer, and I really like that aspect of it. Like they were kind of building or designing a house together, and I feel like that really helped make the story more interesting, is that aspect of it coming into play and kind of her finding herself again. So like that book. Then Think and Grow Rich. This is why I say this video is kind of all over the place as well, because I go from the most like romancy books to the most, I don't know, nonfiction. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I feel like almost everyone has heard of this book by now. And I figured I had to read it because I kept hearing people talk about it and my friend wanted to read it. And I was like, I'm gonna just read it now too. Yeah, this is not even just a book if you want to get rich. It's kind of spiritual in a sense as well, and talked about the law of manifestation, and talks about the law of attraction and like all the things you can do with your mind, and like how powerful the mind is. And if you don't know, you don't know. But if you know it, you know what you don't know. I feel like reading these things really helps open your mind more and see what all is possible. And he talks about even like with your mind, you can prevent illnesses or make them worse just by thinking negative thoughts. And if you think positive thoughts, and he talks about auto-suggestion, then you can change a lot for yourself. So yeah, it's just a classic. And the next one kind of plays into that. It's called No Good, No Gold by Anne and Esther Vedder. So it's a Dutch book, actually. And normally I don't read Dutch books. Like I can't do it. Especially like nonfiction, okay, I can do it. But fiction books in Dutch is the worst for me. I'd rather just not read than read fiction books in Dutch. It's just so cringe to me. I don't know. But No Good, No Gold is a nonfiction. And it's about these twin girls, and how they always had these big visions for themselves and how they realized them. It talks about their life story up until now, and how they went from basically being broke to having a jewelry company and just flying over the world in first or in business class. And yeah, reading stuff like that really inspires me. So next, I read Powerless by Lauren Roberts. It's this book. Look how pretty it is. I just really like this cover. Just so shiny. And this was out of my comfort zone again. And I really wanted to get like into fantasy a bit more, because I haven't really, well, like I told you, I read kind of fantasy, but it was too fantasy for me. So I felt like I need to read a romance. The Queen Steph Bohr, she has a book club on Patreon, and I'm in that. And they started reading Reckless by Lauren Roberts. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to read Powerless first. So I read it and I really liked it. I think this is my, let me see if that's correct. I think that's my second favorite book so far of the nonfiction ones. Or, I mean the fiction ones. This book. Yeah, it really did justice what I like had in mind when I thought of romantasy. It's giving Hunger Game vibes, but then with powers. Like in Hunger Games, it was kind of just ordinary people. And in this book, it's the fantasy added aspect. Is that they literally call them ordinaries who don't have powers. And then there are the like elites who have powers. And yeah, I always like that where they have powers and then they have all these different powers, and you like learn about what their powers are and the world building. I am back. The camera died, but here I am. So I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, I just really liked the combination of romance with the fantasy aspect and all these powers and the main character stories. And I actually need to read the second one still. So I'm really curious how that will go. And then I read The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Yeah, I think another classic. My boyfriend told me to read that one as well. And that one was really good. I read it in 3 days, I think, which could have even been faster. And at first I thought, I was kind of hesitant to get into it because like he told me to read that like some time ago already. And I don't know, something about the cover and stuff I was like, what is this really about? But then I started reading it and I just, for some reason, I couldn't stop. And yeah, really liked that. It was like a spiritual like story told as more of a like fiction story with like characters and stuff. So yeah, that one is a really good one too if you're just trying to get into more like spirituality and like manifesting and all of that. Then last two are books I'm still reading. One of them is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. We're reading that now for like Steph Bohr's Patreon as the book club book of the month. And I like it. It's kind of a more, I feel like the characters are younger. Maybe it's like for a younger audience. I don't know. But I've been liking it so far, yeah. It's kind of more, I wouldn't say bubblier, and not more carefree because she's still going through stuff and he's still going through stuff. So, I don't know, it's not like they're not going through anything, but it just feels like a younger book, kind of, which I like right now because it's just sometimes you need those books. You kind of just don't want to think too much. And that's one of those books, and I like it. So the last one is another one I'm reading right now, and it's a nonfiction, and it's called The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine Aron. And I figured I should read that one because I'm a highly sensitive person myself. I figured it out like a few years ago, I think, because I like a personal coach, kind of. Like she came to my house. It was all like more practical than normal therapy, even though I was in normal therapy for like a little bit. But long story short, then I got to her and we figured out that I'm a highly sensitive person. So I figured I should read that book to know like more about what that all means and how I can understand myself better and how I can help maybe my loved ones help understand me better as well, and maybe how I can set better boundaries and stuff like that. So yeah, I think like 100 pages in or something, so I'm not that far in yet, but yeah, I like it, and it's giving me like more insight into also kind of a part of what makes me me, and I feel like it's good to read those books too sometimes. So yeah, that's all the books I've read so far. I think it's like, what is it? I think I actually didn't include that dragon book on my list that I have here, because it says here I have 16 books, so with that one it's 17, but then I'm still like, I almost finished Betting on You, almost finished $100 Million Leads, and then I'm still reading The Highly Sensitive Person. So really I read 14 books then, but almost 17, if that makes sense. And that's honestly kind of really good for me because I'm a really slow reader, and also I'm kind of new to reading. Like I've read before in my childhood, but then I kind of stopped and then I started reading again. So yeah, I'm also just now like allowing myself to read more as well, and just I don't want to make it a race either. Like it's kind of you have to kind of balance it, I think, because on one hand I want to read as many books as I can because I just like reading and like learning stuff, and on the other hand getting to know all these characters and stories, but I also don't want to ruin the experience by just trying to get through the books just to read more, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm happy with this list, and let me know which books you've read, if you've read any of those and what you thought about them. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Hope you have a good day, and bye.